I bought a sleeve of the Nespresso Cafe de Cubas because she knows why. She knows why. I love Cuban coffee. I love Cuban coffee. Anytime I go to the grocery store, if they do not have Cafe Bustelo, I look for another type of Cuban coffee. I love Cuban coffee. But it's a coffee pod, not an espresso pod. And I want to ice it, but I'm fearful of icing because it is a coffee pod and not an espresso pod. So this is when my little freezer ball comes in very handy. I'm going to use my freezer ball to cool down the coffee so it hopefully doesn't melt the ice too much. I need to choose a responsibly sized vessel because I'm not used to the 7.7 ounce coffees. I'm used to the double shots, which are like, I think 3 ounces. So take a responsible cup. I think this should do. I hope the little guy fits. The guy fits. We're gonna do honey, salt, cinnamon. Even though I know when I cool down the coffee, it's not going to melt the way I want it to. The coffee will have been cooled down. Kind of defeats the purpose. Putting honey in your coffee, it's not going to melt with the hot coffee. I'm not real worried about it. Cinnamon. Just a dash, just a splash. Cup prepared, pod, coffee ball. Let's go over here. I want to make sure the coffee actually hits the ball, and I think that should be good. That was very official measuring that I was doing with my finger there that you saw. Here to here, here to here, here to here. Very official measuring. It's coffee cart. Coffee cart. Coffee cart is generous. Coffee cart, because it's also my pantry. It's getting quite overcrowded. Touch the ball. Touch the ball. This is when I think the girls are always talking about a hyper chiller, how a hyper chiller is great for when you want to turn a coffee pod into an iced coffee. Literally, who has room in their fridge for a hyper chiller? Because I don't. They take up so much room. At least this little ball just takes up a little room. That's a lot of coffee. I'm not used to seeing such quantity from my Nespresso. It gets so much coffee, it's touching the ball on the bottom. Coffee ball is taking a little bath in the coffee. I never ice coffee pods, ever. Wow. That is delicious. I know that this is not going to be a big enough cup. Once I add ice, I'm going to be responsible. Try to find the biggest cup I have. I'm gonna use half and half. I never do it that way. Why did I do it that way? I always pour it in after the coffee. Silly goose. Okay. Okay. Ooh, the texture on this. That's the texture you want to see in a nice coffee. I know it's light. And I know we're all thinking, Gloria, maybe you like your coffee lighter. It's been getting lighter and lighter every day. Maybe you like light coffee. I swear to you, I don't. I swear I do. This though, it's the texture, the viscosity, the quality. That. I have never gotten this texture from an espresso coffee pod that I put over ice. Never. That's delicious. I knew if there was ever going to be a coffee pod that I could ice, it would be Cuba. None of the other ones are destined for icing. I love it. Look at it. Look at it. If you were handed this color coffee in a coffee shop, you would be giving the barista an extra $1 tip in that little tip jar. I would. If I was handed this color, I saw this immaculate, beautiful, perfectly textured coffee handed to me by a barista, I would be walking myself over that tip jar and giving him another $1. I love